Our final tag team tournament match up this evening, pairing the Canadian Cartel Golden Al Barnett and Vic LaRue against Chris Wylde and Jeff Fortune. Of course, Wylde Fortune. What a match this is set to be.
The next tag tournament match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle first at a combined weight of 483 pounds. From Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Golden Al Barnett, and from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Vic LaRue. They are the Canadian Cartel.
Here they come, the star pupils of the Riley Flash Wrestling Academy, the Canadian Cartel. Golden Al Barnett and Vic LaRue with tons of experience but never any gold. A situation they were hoping to rectify by entering this tournament. And good luck to them. They've got a tough challenge ahead against Chris Wylde and Jeff Fortune, who have got heaps of experience too.
And their opponents, at a combined weight of 442 pounds. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Chris Wylde. And from Loch Lomond, Virginia, Jeff Fortune. Together they are Wylde Fortune.
An important call she's gotta take. Molto Argento, you know.
I didn't know you spoke Italian. Yeah, sure, sit down. I hope it's just something important and not something serious. Wylde Fortune, Chris and Jeff, making their way to the ring. But this one, oh man. And these guys got experience. They've been around almost as long as the originals. Been tag team champions a couple of times. Have beaten some of the best teams we got. This is going to be a great match between them and the Canadian Cartel.
And it will be Vic LaRue starting for the Canadian Cartel and Chris Wylde initiating for Wylde Fortune. Referee Tom Canamora sounds the bell. They come center ring. Here we go. Chris Wylde with a set of shots and a drop kick, taking Vic LaRue down to the mat. Quickly takes him down again, one arm. Turns his attention quickly to Golden Al Barnett. Winds up getting hung up on the top rope. Vic LaRue going to take advantage of the lapse, but no, he isn't. Yes, he is. He's countering. Shots to the midsection to Chris Wylde. Chris caught up. Fisherman. Nicely done by Vic LaRue. LaRue taking himself up. Changes his mind on that project. Going after Jeff Fortune. Going back to Chris Wylde. He is just all over the place. Catches a DDT from Chris Wylde with a pin attempt. One. Vic LaRue. Like a wild dog in there. Chris Wylde with a scoop slam. Chris fighting the hell of Vic LaRue. Well, now, here comes Jeff Fortune on the tag. Vic LaRue hangs him up with an elbow. Jeff back up on his feet, takes down LaRue with a clothesline, a stomp to the back of the head, and turns it right back over to Chris Wylde. Wonder what made him change his mind so quickly. Crossbody from Chris Wylde to Vic LaRue. Now a set of lefts to the skull and a slam of the nose into the canvas, and he goes right back to the well for a second drink. Misses with the rolling elbow. LaRue back up to a standing position. Walks it up, okay, up over the shoulders. There's Chris Wylde towards the far right corner, head first into the turnbuckle and bounces down into a seated position. Grabbed a hold of by the ankles and scooped out of the corner by Vic LaRue. Into an armbar stretch right away. Both teams coming out very aggressively. Golden Al Barnett coming in for the first time in this one. Barnett with a wraparound DDT attempt, but Chris Wylde throws it with shots to the gut. Barnett whipped to the corner, and Jeff Fortune is brought in on the tag. Fortune moves in on Barnett. Hard shot to the midsection in a second. Look at this. Alternating shots, chops, and down goes Golden Al Barnett. Jeff Fortune. Absolutely amazing. One. Nope. Barnett raising the left shoulder. And wow, another tag out. Well, Fortune. Well, look at this, just beating the boots across the chest of Golden Al Barnett. Chris Wylde gathers him up again. Whip to the ropes goes Barnett. There's a duck under from Chris Wylde. Well, that did not work out. Barnett, with a series of shots, catches a jawbreaker from Chris. An uppercut from Barnett. Chris Wylde laid out for the moment. Barnett turning it back over to Vic LaRue. Chris Wylde standing centering. Whoa, another jumping elbow from Vic LaRue. A double axe handle to the back of the head to Chris Wylde. Chris Wylde against the ropes. Vic LaRue with a neckbreaker drop on Chris. A driving knee into the back of the head. Vic LaRue. Very aggressive, and here we go again. Golden Al Barnett tagging in now. Both teams tagging very efficiently. Barnett to the outside. Chris Wylde gets him from behind. Bulldogs him. Face first into the floor. A stomp to the midsection. Jeff Fortune still laid out near his tag corner. Chris Wylde trying to rally the folks here in El Paso. Well, Fortune, a very experienced tag team. Well over a decade together. Former tag team champions a couple of times over. Barnett locks it up with Chris Wylde. Wylde slammed head first into the turnbuckle. He counters a kick to the midsection of Barnett. A drop kick that doesn't find the mark. There's a right hand from Golden Al Barnett. Chris Wylde counters with a shot to the midsection. Another, a right. Down went Golden Al Barnett. Jeff Fortune brought in on the tag. Jeff Fortune also working the crowd. Barnett back to his feet. Locks it up with Jeff Fortune. A snap suplex. Barnett quickly moving in on Jeff. Has him up. There's a backbreaker. Golden Al Barnett with a flip over neck whip on Jeff Fortune, followed up with a stomp to the leg. Barnett making his way to his own corner. Here comes Vic LaRue again. Jeff Fortune standing center ring waiting for Vic LaRue. Hard right, a chop, and down goes Vic LaRue almost immediately. Jeff Fortune, very aggressive. Not quite as aggressive as Chris Wylde, but definitely aggressive in his own way. He will take you apart if he's got a mind to. Jeff Fortune getting neckbreaker on LaRue. Makes his way to the top turnbuckle here. Vic LaRue still laid out. Here we go. Elbow across the chest from Jeff Fortune. Here's a pin. 1, 2. Golden Al Barnett finding his way out of trouble here. A stomp to the face from Jeff Fortune. A driving knee into the side of the head. Jeff Fortune going to work on Al Barnett. Changes his mind about the project. Turns it back over to Chris Wylde. And he's ready to go right back to work where Jeff Fortune left off. Chris all the way up, leg drop across the throat. Here's the hook of the leg. 1, 2. Well, as near to a near fall as we have had so far. The momentum has gone quite a bit back and forth. LaRue catches the shot. Chris tugging on the arm against the ropes. Locks it up with LaRue again. Hard right hand, a measured right hand. Taking LaRue down to the mat again. Here's a quick tag to Barnett. Chris Wylde showboating maybe a little bit too much. Catches the shot from Barnett. Barnett takes him down from a drop toe hold into a leg lock. Referee Tom Kennemore checking it out, but no. Chris Wylde responds with shots. Referee ordering Vic LaRue out of the ring. Barnett whipped to the far right corner. A hard right from Chris. A second. And whoa, he tried for a third, and maybe it was too much. Barnett counters, finds his way out. Chris Wylde finds his head into the turnbuckle. Seated up on the top turnbuckle here. Barnett, whoa, slammed him down by the arm. Golden Al Barnett. the pride of the Riley Flash Wrestling Academy in Canada, slamming the head of Chris Wylde into the turnbuckle. Barnett up on the middle rope, reverse dragon sleeper, hanging Chris Wylde up there for a little bit, and lets him drop towards center, turning it over to Vic LaRue. Chris Wylde rolls to the outside. LaRue gonna go after Jeff Fortune instead, tags him with a right hand, as Barnett gathers up Chris Wylde, rolls Chris back inside the ring, decides to remain at his tag corner, as Vic LaRue makes his way back in. Chris Wylde still laid out on the Wylde Fortune side of the ring. A hard right from Chris. LaRue counters with a forearm. They lock up. Chris, whoa, with a clothesline. Drops LaRue immediately. Stomp to the arm. A stomp to the face. A stomp to the back of the head. Chris Wylde says, that's enough stomping here, Jeff. You take it over. Jeff Fortune moves in. A stomp to the back of Vic LaRue. For a moment, I thought he was going to tag again. But no, all the way up on the top. Here he goes, elbow across the chest of Vic LaRue. Here's a cover. 1, 2. But again, holds it down. Barnett saving it for his team. And Vic LaRue going home with all kinds of blueprints. Hard shot to the midsection from LaRue. Jeff counters with an elbow and a quick clothesline, taking LaRue right back down again. Definitely stepping over LaRue, turns it back over to Chris Wylde. What a match so far. We're approaching the halfway mark. A lot of near falls, but no results so far. A set of hard rights from Chris Wylde, a throat chop, and a counter hip toss from Vic LaRue. Here's a pin attempt. 1, 2. Chris Wylde powers out of the pin. LaRue whips Chris to his team's corner. The Canadian Cartel's trying to battle back here. Chris Wylde counters. LaRue counters. Chris Wylde sets him up for the gut wrench suplex. Nicely done. Out to the floor went Vic LaRue. Chris Wylde debating whether or not he's going to tag Jeff Fortune in or not. Goes back after Golden. Al Barnett tags him with a right and an enziguri. How about this right here? Vic LaRue tags him with a right and a shoulder. Puts both members of the Canadian Cartel out on the floor. Jeff Fortune asking, are you going to tag me in or not? What is going on? Chris Wylde waiting patiently. Oh, catches a spear from Vic LaRue, waiting a little bit too long, and finally, Jeff Fortune goes, finally, thank you. Jeff Fortune catches a one-arm suplex for his pains. Vic LaRue quickly going for the cover and hooking the leg here. 1. But I knew there was no way. But it's Jeff Fortune still with too much steam in the tank. Nasty shot right to the back. A knee to the head from Vic LaRue. Jeff Fortune rounded back up by Vic LaRue. Wads up the arm, takes him down, and stomps the shoulder. Vic LaRue turning it back over to Golden Al Barnett. The Canadian Cartel certainly battling back here. Here's a clothesline from Barnett to Jeff Fortune. Fortune whipped out onto the apron. Hard shot. A hard left from Golden Al Barnett has him up on the apron. Oh, right on the lip of the apron. Down goes Jeff Fortune. Barnett gets decided he's going to go after Chris Wylde as well. And he certainly is. Chris Wylde ready for him with a forearm. Jeff Fortune quickly and conveniently rounding him up over the shoulders. Where's he going to deposit him? Oh my. Face first. Oh, with such velocity. Here's a pin. 1, 2. Barnett reaching up for that bottom rope. And it certainly turned the trick, the referee ordering Jeff Fortune to resume. Barnett takes Fortune down to the canvas. There's a little bit of surfboard, a stomp to the back of the head from Golden Al Barnett. He covers and hooks the leg, but too close to Chris Wylde, who was right there. Barnett swinging. at Chris Wylde in frustration. Alley-oop, Jeff Fortune out of the corner. Barnett gathers up Chris Wylde. Chris Wylde with the upper hand. Whips Barnett to the ropes. Back body drop. Down goes Golden Owl Barnett on knee right into the back. And Chris Wylde takes over and Vic LaRue takes over. With fresh partners, this match resumes. But it is so far looking very favorable for Wylde Fortune. The Canadian Cartel urgently trying to battle back here. Vic LaRue rounds up Chris over the shoulders. Head first into the turnbuckle. Chris Wylde collapses in a seated position into the corner, gets himself out of there. Vic LaRue slams his head into the opposing turnbuckle. Pulls him out, slams him back, and then suplexes him. Vic LaRue. That was a beautiful move. Here's a pin. 1. Chris Wylde. Rescued again by Jeff Fortune. Armbar stretch from Vic LaRue. LaRue comes out. Golden Owl Barnett comes in. Chris Wylde catches a right. Counters with a hip toss. Taking Barnett down to the mat. And here comes Jeff Fortune again. Barnett taken down center ring. Fortune with a stomp to the face of Barnett. Whoa! What a quick counter from Barnett going behind. Look at this. Whoa! From that suplex almost taking the referee down. And Vic LaRue is brought in on the tag. Jeff Fortune is laid out pretty good. No, he isn't. Quickly back up on his feet. A couple of hard right hands. And a belly-to-belly suplex. And finally, Tom Kanemaru out of that corner. Vic LaRue center ring with a sharpshooter on Jeff Fortune. Chris Wylde with a drop kick disengages him. Fortune counters, double boots. Quickly back up to his feet, locks it up with Vic LaRue. Gets his hands on him, whips him to the far right corner, misses with the splash. LaRue, they tussle, they disengage. LaRue with an uppercut. Taking Jeff Fortune down, tagged him a good one. And here comes Golden Owl Barnett again. We are down to like less than 5 minutes here. Barnett with a stomp to the face of Jeff Fortune. Fortune gets a hold of him, counters with a dragon screw, quickly taking him down to the canvas. Jeff Fortune immediately going for the pin here. 1, 2, 3, and how about that? Wylde Fortune advancing to the next round.
Here's the time, 15 minutes and 32 seconds. And your winners, Wylde Fortune.
Well, baby, what a scuffle. The Cartel giving out as good as they got from Chris and Jeff. A serious war of attrition running down 3/4 of the time limit. And with Wylde Fortune advancing to the next round on Snarl this Saturday.
Yeah, the survival round. Remember, they got to fight to keep their spot against 4 new teams.
Well, Wally, it looks like you're going to be staying with us for the main event. Christy Ogilvie, unfortunately, has had to leave. Nothing urgent, but she needed to go. When we return, tonight's main event, the Rage television title on the line when we return.